Hello, my fellow vloggers! Are you ready for part 2 of Wiiiillld by Cheryl Strayed? I definitely am, because I am infatuated with her, as if I wasn't already. But what I want to talk about this week in this vlog is the 16th chapter, I think, called Meizama, which is as Cheryl is walking through the PCT through Crater Lake, which used to be Mount Meizama, and it was this huge volcano that essentially exploded and created a crater, which turned into a lake. And there's a quote in the very first paragraph of this chapter, which is on page 262, in case you were wondering, if I could speak. And it's talking about Mount Meizama, and Cheryl says, a mountain that's had its very heart removed. And it was probably at that point that I knew this chapter was going to really, really rule, and I was going to love it. And I did, because it's something I really connected with. And in this, Cheryl kind of confronts this ridiculous anger that she has towards her mother, and she lists a bunch of things that her mother did that made her not perfect. And I think when something happens when you're really young and you have to grow up really, really fast, that isn't totally uncommon. And for me, that was when my parents got divorced. I was maybe 11, maybe 12, at least when I found out it was happening. And that's a pretty young age to kind of come to terms with mom and dad aren't in love anymore. And on top of that, you have to move 300 some miles away from everything you've known your entire life. And having to come to terms with those types of things, those huge changes that really rock your world, they do kind of manifest, and then later you get angry just about the weirdest things. And for me, it was with my mom too. For a long time, I was unhappy with where I was and what was happening to me, and I took a lot of that out on my mom, and then it took me a while to be like, wait, she's doing the best she can, and she loves me, and she's doing this because she knows it's best for me, but at the same time, separating from my dad and divorcing my dad was the best thing for her. And in this chapter, Cheryl talks about how her mom wasn't just mom. Her mom was also Bobby, which was a separate kind of being from what she knew. So it wasn't just she was a mom, she was an entire person that affected other people's lives as well. And I loved that she finally showed that. But what really got me was the very last paragraph. And I'm not going to read the entire paragraph, but it's on page 273, and it's the last sentence that kind of comes back to the first quote. And it says, "There was only the stillness and the silence of that water, what a mountain and a wasteland and an empty bowl turned into after the healing began." So even though this entire thing has blown up and caused a crater, kind of like Cheryl's mom dying and my parents getting divorced, it's left this huge hole in the ground and in a person. But you can take that and you can build up from it. And I thought that was really, really cool how she combined those two things. And it's just something she's done throughout the entire book that I love. And that makes me love her more. So really why I really connected with this chapter, and it was incredible to read. And I cried because I'm a big baby, but I cried because I love it a lot, and it's a really touching thing to read. But yeah, so I hope everybody else enjoyed the book as much as I did, because it was really good. And excuse the mess behind me. I just moved. And I also realized you can't see my hair. It doesn't all fit. But have a good weekend, guys, and thanks for listening to me babble again.